What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadski, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. So now we have the secondary half of the showcase for the Law versus Blackbeard character. We've already talked about Blackbeard. I absolutely love the unit. But now we can pivot over to Law. Now, Law is slightly different in the fact that this character is mainly focused on the Striker class, whereas Blackbeard was focused around Powerhouse. Now, from my experience, it may be a bit of a hot take here, but I think this character, honestly, is really not that good. After using him in some content that you're seeing in this video, I just consistently kept thinking in my head, why am I using Law as a captain when we have a character like Uta, for example? Like, Uta is just the better striker captain. She's, better in almost every way. The only thing that Law has, over Uta that's different is, he removes Despair instead of Paralysis and Special Reverse, and, you know, you've got, the fact that Law can potentially captain swap, which is, again, honestly, one of the most annoying mechanics that this character honestly has. And also the thing is that Law's captain ability multipliers are a lot higher because obviously he's a newer unit. So there's positives and negatives for sure, but let's get into it, and I'll talk about my opinions as we go along here. So talking about first his captain ability, he does give striker characters -1 turn of cooldown, and you do see I'm structuring the captain effect a little bit different because Law and Blackbeard's captain effect are extremely convoluted. So hopefully this is a better way to kind of break down the structure in terms of what this character actually does. So first component, he gives -1 cooldown, which is nice. Blackbeard doesn't even give cooldown in the captain effect, which is at least nice that Law does at least -1. He gives an attack boost to strikers, or it's basically to the whole crew, based on the number of striker characters on the crew. So it is a rainbow captain, but the more strikers on the crew, the higher the multiplier. So it does go up to a 6 times bonus when you have a full team of strikers, minimum of a 5 times bonus. He does give everyone Psi, Recovery, and Tandem slots as matching, and he allows you to obtain recovery slots every time you tap perfect, so that's honestly a pretty cool mechanic as well. But if you are inflicted with that debuff where recovery slots do damage to you instead, that can honestly be a huge detriment. So that's all well and good with the start of his captain effect, but then moving on from that, he says if you have 4 or more strikers on your crew, he reduces Despair by 10 turns, and then if you use a special to boost an attack or boost your color affinity, then it extends it by 1 turn. Remember that effect only accounts for specials, not supports. So anytime you use a special that does an attack boost or a color affinity boost, you just get 1 additional turn added on top of it, so long as you have 4 strikers on your crew, which is pretty good. Furthermore, if you have 6 strikers on your crew, then it will go ahead and add a final tap damage boost of 50% or more, and also boost striker character's attack by 6.5 times. And that, I believe, is when a special ability is activated. So the fact that he has the final tap damage buff, which is kind of interesting, it just means that, you know, if you are building for that mono striker, the character that does have a final tap that is a striker is going to be hitting very, very hard. This does still give Law additional bonuses, where if you decide to final tap with Law instead, remember his rush can be used as the 6th tap in the chain. It means that Law can actually hit really, really hard by himself. But honestly, it's probably going to be best case scenario if you synergize this with the dual Yamato character that came out during New Year's, because she has one of the hardest hitting effects in the game in terms of a final tap. So you could stack this with that Yamato, despite the fact that Yamato already has an inbuilt effect focusing around adding damage to final taps, but Law is kind of self-sufficient in that manner. And then he also will apply a different effect based on your HP when a special is launched. So Blackbeard had a very similar effect. Basically, every time a special is launched, he does a different effect depending on your health threshold. So when a special is launched and you have more than 70% HP, then it reduces his versus gauge by 3 and also adds 20% final tap damage for the next striker character. So that's pretty good. And then if you have a full team of striker characters on your crew and you have 70% or below HP, he will heal 50% of your max HP and also add 30% damage to the next final tap character that is a striker. So these effects that Law has, where he activates different components based on your HP threshold, are nowhere near as good as what Blackbeard has. Blackbeard has the health cut mechanics, which he wants to get to low HP as fast as you possibly can, because when you get below that 20% threshold, activating HP guard and basically taking no effect damage for 3 turns is super, super valuable, while Law is more offensively focused, where he gives you the final tap damage. So the way that I see things is, in terms of captain abilities, Blackbeard is better in almost every way. The only time that Law, I feel, is going to be better is potentially in a Super Boss Kizuna scenario, because Law is so focused on adding more and more damage on top of what you already have with that final tap damage bonus. So that is going to give more credence for Super Boss Kizuna. But basically, in every other scenario, in my opinion, Blackbeard is just a better captain. So let's move on to Law's special ability. Law does have a lot of effects going on in his special, and again, can be a little confusing to understand how he's going to work. First of which, though, he sets enemy defense to 0 through immunity for 2 turns. That's already a fantastic effect. The fact that it does go for 2 turns means if the enemy revives, that effect will still last. So Law has a great effect there, no complaints with that. Moving on from that, though, if you have an orb boost when you launch Law's special, it will give a 3.25 times attack boost for 2 turns and give you overhealing for 2 turns. So potentially Law's healing effect in his captain could become overheal. So that's kind of neat that he gets access to that as well. And then it will also state that if you have final tap damage buff when you launch Law's special, it's going to give you a 3.5 times orb boost to strikers for 2 turns. It does state, though, that that orb boost, if you have a final tap damage buff when you launch it, it will allow it to be buffed up to 2 separate times. So an orb boost, very good orb boost at 3.5, that can be buffed 2 separate times is honestly really, really good. It does state, though, that if you don't have the final tap damage buff, it will still give you a 3.25 times orb boost, and it is only for 1 turn instead. So that's still pretty neat. But what it means is if you have, like Law for example, you have the final tap damage buff, you can have an orb boosting special from Law, you can then activate his special ability, so if you have 2 Laws on your crew, you can get an attack boost, and you can get an orb boost. And remember, in Law's captain ability, you can make attack boost and color affinity boost, get a 1 turn additional. So potentially Law's attack boost can be a 3.25 times attack boost for 3 turns. So that's pretty neat that you can get access to an effect such as that. So it is a little bit annoying, though, because if you end up using Law as a crewmate, he won't get access to adding final tap damage buff unless you use his versus effect, which, if I remember correctly, the versus effect does apply final tap damage buff. So that can honestly be a little bit of an issue that I could see. Using him as a sub may be a problem. Moving on from that, the rest of the special says that if you have used 7 specials or more before you've used Law's special, then when you activate Law's special, it will extend the duration of your orb boosts for 1 turn. So potentially you could get like a 3 turn 3.5 times orb boost, which is really strong. It then says it will further increase the effect of your orb boost by 0.3, making it a 3.8 orb boost for 3 turns. So that's honestly really strong. It then says that if you have 6 strikers on your crew, it will swap your middle right character with your captain for 1 turn and reduce that character's special charge time by 20 turns. And then after all of this is concluded, it heals your crew by 60% of your maximum HP. This effect I honestly do not like. The fact that he does have a captain swap mechanic and it's not optional. Like, it has to occur. And if you're building Law, you want to have a full team of strikers. But honestly, a lot of the time, you don't want to switch your captains. And even if you do, it is annoying that, like, you have to use the versus effect in order to remove that, and sometimes you want to save the versus effect for later. I just feel like the design of this unit is a little clunky. I wish that this effect was an optional switch, so if you wanted to do it, you could do it, awesome. If you don't want to do it, you shouldn't have to be forced to do it. Unfortunately, that is the case. He does give the character that he switches into the captain position 20 turns of cooldown, which can have some very cool applications, but the fact that it is a little that it isn't optional is a huge issue that I have with this unit. And then we need to go ahead and briefly go through his versus effect. So the versus effect is the exact same condition as Blackbeard, which is honestly fine. Absolutely no condition, no qualms on my side, honestly, with this, because it's very easy to do, and his captain effect can help reduce that even more. The effect of it, though, will boost your attack by 0.25, so that's nice, giving a buff to that. It does give a final tap boost to strike a character for 20%, so that can allow you to access the extra components from his special ability. It then also reduces paralysis by 6 turns, so nice piece of utility, and also allows you to cancel captain swaps. So again, you have to use the versus effect to remove the captain swap, which I honestly don't like. I wish that, the effect in the special should just be optional, but you could also remove bad ones that the enemy inflict on you, which is kind of neat. It then will also give all striker characters a matching slot that goes through block slots. Really love that effect. I think his versus effect is phenomenal. Both him and Blackbeard have amazing versus abilities. Lots of usefulness, lots of damage, or you could have it for utility. You can have matching slots. There's just lots of usefulness for this versus effect, which I absolutely love. And then to finish things up, we need to have a look at the rush very briefly, which in order to activate it, you just need 5 strikers on the crew. So that's pretty easy to do if you're building for lore anyway. The effect, it can be used as the first tap or the 6th tap, which I really love as well. So if you have a final tap character that you want to abuse on your crew, you can use this as your first tap, and you can get additional bonus for the rest of your characters throughout the rest of your chain. But the effect is really nice because if you use it as the first tap at level 5, you can get a like a 2.0 rush attack boost to your strikers. But if you use it as the final tap, it can be a 2.6 damage bonus to himself. So that's kind of cool. But honestly, like the most damage you'll get out of it is if you abuse the you know, him as the first tap, and then you have a different character actually performing a really strong final tap. But at the end of the day, because Lore has the damage bonuses from final tap from his kit, you could potentially make that damage percent go up really, really high, and then the final tap of Lore can do a ton of damage. But we have so many good rushes at the moment. I don't know if this is going to overtake another character, but with all of the damage to final tap that can be increased with Lore, he may see potential use in a future super boss, potentially in the future. So that's the way that I think about Lore. I just feel like most of the time when I was using this character, I used Uta a lot as a friend captain because Uta, in my opinion, is just a better striker captain. And while she doesn't have a lot of the things that Lore has, Uta, I feel like, has way more use cases in content compared to what Lore does, but Lore's multipliers are indeed higher, which means that he may see potential use in big damage content like a super boss Kizuna in the future compared to what we have now. But let me know your thoughts and opinions about Trafalgar lore down below in the comment section. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.